you probably hit the snooze button this morning, like maybe just once or maybe 3 times.
Oh, definitely 3 times for me.
Right. And in that half-asleep haze, you weren't thinking about intersecting graphs or, mathematical formulas.
No, you're just trying to survive the morning.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
you were actually executing a highly complex, real-time economic calculation. Economics gets this bad rap as this dusty, rigid academic discipline.
Yeah, mostly because professors love to point at chaotic Greek letters and pretend it's a hard science like physics.
Yes. But when you strip away the jargon, economics isn't about money or graphs at all. It is the absolute definition of a behavioral science. Like, it's the study of you.
It really is the study of human choices, and I think that's where people get intimidated, you know?
Yeah, totally.
We like our societal systems to look exact and predictable, but the reality is just much messier. The economy is literally just millions of regular people trying to figure out how to get through their day.
Making decisions with limited time and limited resources. Which is why I am so thrilled to welcome you to our deep dive today. We've got a fantastic set of notes here. Essentially, the layman's guide to fundamental economic principles.
It's a great collection of concepts.
It is. And our mission for this deep dive is incredibly specific. We are going to take this dense list of intimidating jargon and, well, translate.
Yeah, decode it.
We're going to decode these concepts into analogies so simple a curious child could grasp them. But then we're going to look at how those playground rules actually dictate the complex adult world we live in.
I love that. That is genuinely the best way to test if you understand a complex system.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you can't
Yeah.
map it onto a playground, you probably don't actually grasp the underlying mechanism of why it works.
I am so ready to be the relentlessly curious questioner today. I'm just going to keep asking follow-ups until I get it. So let's start by figuring out the scale of what we are even looking at.
Okay, let's do it.
Whenever people talk about the economy, they throw around terms like microeconomics and macroeconomics, usually followed closely by economic models.
Right? The classics.
Before we can look at the choices people make, how do we decide which lens to look through?
Well, scale is everything. Imagine a massive, sprawling elementary school. Picture the brick building, the playground, the cafeteria, just hundreds of kids running around.
Okay, I can picture it. It's loud.
Very loud.
Hmm?
Microeconomics, or micro, is taking out a microscope and focusing on one single student in that cafeteria. Let's call him Timmy.
Okay, hey, Timmy.
We are watching Timmy try to stretch his $3 of lunch money.
Yeah.
He really wants a carton of chocolate milk and a chocolate chip cookie, but he only has enough for one.
Ah, the classic dilemma.
Right. Micro is the study of that specific individual choice. It's the individual consumer, the single household, or one single small business trying to maximize their limited resources.
So micro is the hyper-local view. It's the individual kid making a trade-off.
Yes, exactly. Now, macroeconomics requires you to put away the microscope and pull out a telescope.
We're zooming out.
Way out. We are no longer looking at Timmy's $3. Macro is looking at the entire school district's multi-million-dollar budget.
Oh, well. No.
The superintendent isn't worried about one cookie. They're asking, how do we keep all 30 cafeterias running? Are we hiring enough teachers across the city? Is the cost of textbooks rising?
So it's the big picture stuff.
Right. Macro looks at the economy as a whole giant system. It deals with national unemployment, global inflation, or total economic output.
Okay, let's unpack this. If micro is the kid buying milk and macro is the district budget, where do economic models fit in?
That's a great question.
Because our sources treat models as the tool economists use to understand both of these scales.
Think of an economic model like a treasure map drawn by a kid trying to navigate that school's playground.
A treasure map.
Yeah, the map is a deliberate simplification. It doesn't show every single blade of grass. It doesn't show the cracks in the sidewalk or a stray leaf blowing across the blacktop.
Right, it's just the basics.
Exactly. It just has a big square for the sandbox, a stick figure for the slide, and a dotted line leading to the swings.
Okay, but I have to challenge that, though.
Go for it.
If a model leaves out all the messy reality, like maybe it leaves out the fact that the school bully hangs out by the swings, isn't it basically useless?
I hear that a lot.
I mean, human behavior is messy. If an economist uses a clean, sanitized model that ignores reality, aren't they going to make terrible predictions?
That instinct is incredibly common. And to be fair, it's a valid concern when models are misused, but ignoring some of that messy reality is the actual function of a model.
So wait, the point is to ignore reality.
Yes. If a map was a one-to-one replica of the world, including every single blade of grass, it would be just as confusing to navigate as the real world.
Oh, right, because it's too much information.
By stripping away the noise, economists can isolate specific variables. They create a scenario where they can say, if we hold everything else constant, how does a change in the price of cookies affect Timmy's behavior?
So it removes the distractions.
Exactly. It helps us find the hidden patterns and understand causality, rather than getting lost in the weeds.
Like the GPS on my phone. The screen doesn't show me the weather or, like, the color of the cars next to me. It just shows me the blue line to my destination.
That's a brilliant way to put it.
It removes the reality I don't need so I can see the pattern I do need.
Yes, the model gives you the direction.
So we have our map. We know if we're zooming in on one kid or zooming out to the whole school. But once we have that map, how do the kids actually interact on it?
Well, that's where society comes in.
Our sources bring up these 3 key questions and something called economic systems.
Right. So every society in human history, no matter how ancient or how technologically advanced, faces the exact same problem.
Which is
they have limited resources, but unlimited wants.
Story of my life.
Exactly. Because of that, every society must answer 3 basic questions. Number 1, what are we going to make?
Right.
Number 2, how are we going to make it? And number 3, who gets it once it's made?
Take me back to the playground. What does that actually look like in the sandbox?
Imagine a group of kids decides they want to build a fort. First, the what? Are we building a fort out of couch cushions, or are we dragging leftover cardboard boxes out of the garage?
Got it. They have to decide what goods to produce.
Then, the how. Does everyone just grab a box and start wildly taping things together, or does one kid stand on a chair and act as the project manager, assigning specific tasks?
I was definitely the bossy project manager kid.
Same here, but that's deciding the method of production. Finally, the who. Once this magnificent cardboard fortress is finished, who actually gets to sit inside it?
Oh, that's usually where the fights start. Does the kid who brought the duct tape get the best spot? Do you draw straws? Does the tallest kid just push everyone else out?
Exactly. And how they resolve that fight is their economic system.
Wait, really? Just the rules of the fight?
Yep. An economic system is simply the agreed-upon set of rules a society uses to answer those 3 questions. Drawing straws is one system. The biggest kid taking over is another.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this isn't just about cardboard forts. This is the entire foundation of our global supply chain.
Absolutely. Look at the smartphone in your pocket. An economic system answered, the what society decided to allocate silicon, glass, and engineering talent to produce smartphones instead of, say, building better landline telephones.
Right. The what?
The system answered the how we use global supply chains and highly automated assembly lines rather than handcrafting them one by one.
And the who?
And the system answered the who. In our current market economy, the people who get the phones are generally the ones willing and able to pay the price tag.
It's fascinating because a completely different economic system would answer those questions differently. Like a centrally planned system might say, we aren't making smartphones at all. The government decrees we are using this factory to make tractors.
Precisely. The playground rules change, so the outcome changes.
And that brings up a really thorny issue. Once your system is running, how do you judge if it's actually doing a good job?
Ah, yes. The sources tackle this through the concept of efficiency.
But they divide it into 2 very distinct types, right? Productive efficiency and allocative efficiency.
Yes, they do.
On a playground level, let's talk about sandcastles versus mud pies.
I love this analogy. So efficiency broadly means not wasting your limited resources. Let's look at productive efficiency first.
Okay.
This is all about the lowest possible cost. If you are building a sandcastle, productive efficiency means you are using the absolute least amount of water and effort necessary.
So no wasted trips to the hose.
Right. You aren't spilling water outside your bucket. You aren't taking 5 trips to the hose when one would do. You are maximizing your output with the minimum possible input.
So productive efficiency is simply doing the thing right. You are a well-oiled machine. But what about allocative efficiency?
Allocative efficiency is about doing the right thing. Imagine a kid who is incredibly productively efficient at making mud pies.
Okay, they've engineered a flawless mud pie system.
Exactly. They churn out hundreds of mud pies an hour with 0 wasted mud and 0 wasted movement.
They are the Henry Ford of mud pies.
But none of the other kids on the playground want to play with mud pies. They all want sandcastles.
Oh no, so they made the wrong thing.
Exactly. That kid's allocative efficiency is terrible. Allocative efficiency means producing the exact mix of goods and services that society actually desires and values.
You have to build sandcastles, not mud pies, because sandcastles are what the market wants.
Bingo.
Oh, this is the Quibi story. Do you remember that streaming service a few years ago?
Yes, I do.
They raised billions of dollars. They hired the best Hollywood directors. They had phenomenal technology for watching shows on your phone. They were incredibly productively efficient.
They did the thing right.
But nobody actually wanted to watch short-form premium videos on their phones.
Mm.
They lacked allocative efficiency. They literally built a billion-dollar mud pie.
That is a perfect adult translation of the concept. You can be the most efficient company in the world, but if you are allocating resources to a product no one values, it is ultimately a massive waste to the economy.
That makes total sense. Now, evaluating those mud pies brings us to another major distinction in our notes. Positive versus normative economics.
Right, positive and normative.
Which sounds like an emotional health check, but I know it's not.
No, it's really about separating facts from feelings.
Okay, lay it on me.
Positive economics is stating an objective fact that can be scientifically tested, proven, or disproven. It doesn't mean good or happy, it just means factual.
So like a measurement.
Yeah, like the sandcastle is 2 feet tall. That is a positive statement. You can take out a tape measure and verify it.
Wait, can a positive statement be wrong? Like if I say the sandcastle is 10 feet tall, but it's only 2 feet tall, is it still a positive statement?
Yes, that's a great point. A false positive statement is still a positive statement because it can be objectively tested and proven false.
Oh, I see. What about normative then?
Normative economics, however, is completely subjective. It involves value judgments, opinions, or ideas about what ought to be.
The oughts and shoulds.
Exactly. The sandcastle should be taller, or it is unfair that Timmy has a bigger sandcastle. You can't test unfair with a tape measure.
Let me make sure I've got this. If I say broccoli is green and contains vitamin C, that is a positive economic statement. It's just data.
Correct.
But if I say kids should be forced to eat their broccoli because it builds character, that's normative.
Exactly. And the reason this distinction is so vital is that in the real world, pundits and politicians constantly disguise normative opinions as positive facts.
Oh, they do this all the time.
They will say inflation is at 4%, a positive fact. Therefore, the government must lower taxes on corporations, a normative opinion.
Wow.
If you don't know the difference, you might accept the opinion as an undisputed mathematical law.
They smuggle the feeling in right behind the fact. That is incredibly useful to look out for. Okay, so we've covered the macro view. We know how societies build forts and judge mud pies.
Yes, we do.
Let's pivot and zoom all the way in to the psychological engine of the economy. The individual.
My favorite part.
The sources list 3 core economic ideas that drive human behavior. The first one is rationality, and I have to push back immediately because humans are deeply irrational.
Are we?
Yes. If someone blows their entire paycheck on lottery tickets, an economist can't call that rational.
It's a great pushback. But when economists use the word rational, they don't mean that you are a cold, calculating supercomputer making objectively perfect choices.
Okay, then what do they mean?
Economics assumes bounded rationality. It simply means that, based on the limited information you have at that exact moment, you will choose the option you believe will bring you the most satisfaction or utility.
Even the lottery tickets.
Even the lottery tickets. The person buying them might know the mathematical odds are terrible, but the sheer thrill of hope and the fantasy of winning provides them with a burst of joy. Yeah. To them, in that moment, buying the ticket is a rational trade-off for their $5.
Okay, so rationality just means I am actively trying to make myself happy, even if my definition of happy looks crazy to someone else.
Exactly. You are weighing your own subjective pros and cons. And that leads to the second core idea. Incentives.
Incentives.
If we assume people rationally seek their own benefit, then incentives are the specific triggers that push them toward one action over another. Like, why does a kid finally clean a disastrously messy bedroom?
Well, usually because a parent threatened to ground them.
Which is a negative incentive. The kid rationally calculates that cleaning the room is less painful than being grounded.
Okay, what about a positive one?
What if the parent says, if you clean your room, we can go get ice cream? That's a positive incentive. Yeah. Economics relies heavily on the idea that people respond predictably to incentives.
So if you change the reward.
If you change the incentive structure, human behavior will shift to adapt to it.
Though sometimes incentives backfire, right? I've read about schools that tried to pay kids $1 for every book they read to boost literacy.
Oh, I know this study.
The kids read way more books, but they picked the shortest, easiest books possible, and once the money stopped, they refused to read at all. The incentive actually destroyed their natural love of reading.
That's a classic example of a perverse
It's a
incentive.
perverse incentive.
Yeah. The system rewarded volume, not comprehension or passion, so the kids rationally optimized for volume. It proves the rule. People respond to incentives, but you have to be very careful what you are actually incentivizing.
That brings us to the third piece of this psychological engine, and the notes highlight this as arguably the most important concept in all the economics. Opportunity cost.
If you learn nothing else from economics, learn opportunity cost.
It's that big, huh?
It really is. Every single time you make a rational choice based on an incentive, you are simultaneously making a sacrifice. Let's go back to childhood. You are standing in a loud, neon-lit arcade.
Oh man, I can smell the stale pizza and the skee ball grease right now.
You've been staring at the prize wall all day. You've accumulated exactly 500 prize tickets. There are 2 items you desperately want: a really cool remote control car and a giant stuffed bear.
Okay, tough choice.
Both cost exactly 500 tickets. You step up to the counter, you have to make a choice. You hand over the tickets and choose the toy car. Now, what was the cost of that car?
Well, 500 tickets.
That is the accounting cost. The opportunity cost is the value of the next best alternative you had to give up.
Wait, what?
The true cost of the car wasn't the pieces of paper. It was the fun of having the stuffed bear.
Oh, you are paying for your choice with the ghost of the choice you didn't make.
That's a poetic but highly accurate way to phrase it. Opportunity cost is the value of the foregone conclusion.
The foregone conclusion.
When a company decides to spend $1 million on a marketing campaign, the opportunity cost isn't the money. It's the new software system they couldn't build because they spent the money on marketing.
This totally shatters the concept of a free lunch. Like, even if my boss buys me a free lunch to attend a noon meeting, it's not actually free.
Not at all.
The accounting cost is 0, but the opportunity cost is the hour of free time I could have spent taking a walk or catching up on emails or just enjoying silence. I'm always paying with my time.
Every choice has an invisible price tag, which leads us to the grand finale of our deep dive.
All right, let's bring it home.
Since we are rational and we're constantly weighing these invisible opportunity costs, how do we know exactly when to stop doing something?
When do we stop eating or stop working, stop spending?
Exactly. The sources emphasize marginal analysis and making optimal decisions at the margin.
The word margin usually makes me think of, like, the blank space on the edge of a notebook. What does it mean here?
In economics, the word marginal translates simply to one additional unit.
Just one more.
Think about eating your absolute favorite pizza. You are starving after a long day. You take that very first slice. It is a transcendent experience.
Unquestionably, the best thing ever.
The marginal benefit, the specific joy and calorie intake you get from that one single slice, is massive.
Right.
You finish it. Now you face a marginal choice. You don't ask yourself, should I eat an entire pizza? You ask, should I eat one more slice?
Ah, I see.
The second slice is still delicious, but you aren't quite as ravenous as you were 5 minutes ago. The marginal benefit has dropped slightly.
But the marginal cost, the feeling of fullness, is still pretty low. So I eat it.
Exactly. This is the law of diminishing marginal utility. The more you consume of something, the less joy each additional unit brings you.
Okay, so fast forward. I've eaten 8 slices.
You are completely stuffed. You look at the 9th slice.
Just looking at it makes me sweat.
If you eat that 9th slice, the marginal benefit is practically 0. It doesn't even taste good anymore. But the marginal cost, the physical pain of being overfull, the lethargy, is now extremely high.
The cost heavily outweighs the benefit.
Right.
So you stop.
Precisely.
Here's where it gets really interesting. I didn't sit down at the beginning of the meal and run a complex mathematical equation about the totality of my dinner.
No, nobody does that.
I just made a sequential series of tiny, isolated decisions about the next 5 minutes. Just one more.
This raises an important question. How often do we actually make all or nothing decisions in life?
Almost never.
When a tech company decides to hire workers, they don't sit in a boardroom and say, should we have a workforce of 0 people or 10,000 people?
Right. They use marginal analysis.
They look at their current staff and ask, Will hiring one more software engineer bring in enough additional revenue to cover their specific salary?
They are making optimal decisions at the margins.
What's fascinating here is that literally all human behavior happens at these economic margins. You live your entire life, one slice, 1 minute, $1 at a time.
That is profound.
When your alarm went off this morning, you didn't debate the philosophical merits of sleep versus waking consciousness. You did a marginal analysis.
I asked myself, does the marginal benefit of 10 more minutes of sleep outweigh the marginal cost of having to rush through my shower?
We are all just standing at the margin, constantly weighing the invisible ghost of opportunity cost, trying to rationally figure out if we want just one more slice of the pie.
And that is why economics is the most profoundly human science there is. It's not a textbook, it's the arcade, it's the pizzeria, and it's your morning alarm clock.
It really is.
Let's take a breath and look at the ground we've covered today. We started with a macro lens of the school district budget and zoomed all the way down the microscope to Timmy buying his milk.
We mapped out how societies decide what to build, how to build it, and who gets to sit in the cardboard fort.
We learned the difference between doing things right, productive efficiency, and doing the right things so we don't end up building a billion-dollar mud pie like Quibi.
We separated the hard, positive data of green broccoli from the subjective, normative opinions of how we should eat it.
And finally, we unpack the psychological engine of it all. How you and I respond to incentives, constantly haunted by opportunity costs, living our lives one marginal decision at a time.
It's a completely different way of seeing the world around you.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, right now? Let's take these tools and put them directly into your life.
Think deeply about the concepts of opportunity cost and marginal analysis.
What was the true opportunity cost of you choosing to listen to this deep dive for the last 15 minutes? What activity, what silence, what task did you give up to be here with us?
You sacrificed a very real alternative to gain this knowledge.
You paid for this with your time, which is your most scarce and valuable resource. And as we sign off today, I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. As you walk into your next meeting or sit down to dinner or stare at the Netflix menu, what is the marginal benefit of spending just one more minute actively applying these economic principles to your life?